Hi, I'm Sandy from Lightning Tools, and I'm here with Brett today again. How are you, Brett?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, it's been a pretty busy week. Been in the office all week, but just
Oh,
came
wow.
home for this afternoon. So
Mm, okay.
yeah, and
And for the
and you're
Lightning
back
Tools social, maybe.
home-ish.
Yes, I'm at home in
Yeah,
air quotes.
but yeah,
But
coming back
it
home
really
for
it really does feel like home at this point.
I bet coming back home actually for the social is yeah
Yeah.
100% true because there was no beer in the office and I have to drive. So yeah, make sure I'm back home before I have a drink.
Yeah, yeah.
Safe that
Yeah, I
way.
think it's a nice thing that that we started during pandemic to just kind of keep everybody together, but I feel like it might be nice to continue too. And I think a lot of companies are doing things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of did in the office because yeah, at our office, just outside the front of the office is a little table, like a picnic table, and so the people at least that are in the UK office would grab grab some drinks and just have a drink before you head off home
Mm,
or whatever. But yeah, one of the advantages of actually everybody was working from home was we were able to open that up to everybody. so
right,
uh,
right.
so it wasn't just a social for the UK staff; it was a social
Hmm.
for everybody, developers, tech support, and
Right.
yourself, and
Yeah.
so on. So yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah. It's
Definitely.
good to get to just chit chat about not work things.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Food,
Yeah.
food mostly. It seems to mostly devolve to food.
The advantage we have here, being 8 hours ahead of you, is we have this social where we have a couple of beers, and then immediately afterwards, you just shut your laptop lid and you carry on drinking. But you have another 8 hours of work to do, right?
It's true.
Great.
Not a problem for me, but
So we've had a DeliverPoint month, and
yeah.
yesterday we did the DeliverPoint webinar, and yeah, so if you're intrigued to see what we've been working on with regards to DeliverPoint, you can go and check that out. The webinar is upon our website, so you can go to lightningtools.com and click onto the webinars link. And yeah, you'll be able to find it there. Or also played around a little bit with Bitly this week, and I
I saw
created a
that.
little branded short URL, so you can go to ltools.co/webinars as well,
Mm,
which
nice.
yeah, just makes those URLs a little bit shorter. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's going to take you straight to webinars, and you'll see the webinar recording from yesterday if you weren't able to make it. So
Yeah, it was a really good one.
thank you.
Lots of questions, and that's always good when there's interaction.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions, so that's good. And I think I was able to answer them all, which is
Mm.
right. So I guess yeah, we're coming into June already, and
Hmm.
yeah, we've already used a few lightning chats on Social Squared, but we've got a new release of
Hmm.
Social Squared coming up, and sort of excited to sort of branch out a little bit on this one to say that it's not just about Social Squared itself, but one of the things that we used to be able to offer in the Social Squared WSP, the on-prem version, was that had a sort of optional reporting module,
Hmm.
which the charts looked fairly basic, but
Hmm.
something you could get to through the site settings and
Hmm.
see how many users had viewed a post or liked a post or replied to a post. You could
Hmm.
see active users and that type of thing, in a chart type format. And
Hmm. Yeah, it was nice for adoption to see how it was being adopted.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, of course, you get a lot of this usage information in SharePoint generally about how many visitors are there to sites and lists and things like that. So yeah, we thought, well, how could we implement such a thing in Social Squared for our products, but in a way that it looks nicer than what it used to in the on-prem bit.
Hmm.
So we decided to actually utilize our data viewer and package it as a sort of add-on to Social Squared. So it's an upsell, but just a sort of marginal increase in the cost of Social Squared, but gives you very flexible reporting. And I've
Yeah.
just been putting a few sort of examples together
Yeah.
today.
Can we see?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So let me just jump into that. And yeah, so on this page here, there's a few different instances of the data viewer, and if you've not come across our data viewer before, it's something that can display data in terms of a grid of data or also a chart of data. And charts can be pie charts, they can be combo charts, they can be line charts, donut charts, and we've also added a couple more. You can now have gauges and tree maps as well, similar to what you would sort of have in Power BI. But what we've got here is there is a instance of Social Squared running. Just bear with me. Let me just hide Teams bit out the
Yeah,
way.
I've been having a hard time doing that lately, personally.
That's annoying. Let's just maybe close that tab and close that tab. There we go. We'll get to it. So here is Social Squared. So Social Squared can be added to SharePoint and also added to Teams as well. And what we've got in here is, as you can see, a number of different forum groups. So there's a SharePoint forum group, a Teams forum group, a Planner forum group, Excel and Word. And if you have a question about a particular topic, you can navigate to the relevant forum and post your question and hopefully get answered. And in some cases, you may not get answered straight away. So what we have here on the left-hand side is a list of all those posts. And I've just added a little bit of conditional formatting to one of the columns in the post. And that's something we can do with the data viewer. And so I can show you the configuration of that one. So if we just select that as a web part here and jump into the configuration pane, you can see we're connecting to a SharePoint list, and there's quite a few different SharePoint lists in the for Social Squared. As you can see, we've got forums and posts and topics and votes and things like that. So we can select the list that we're interested in, choose the columns, and what I've done on this one is actually created a calculated column, which you can do by clicking on calculated column. Yeah, and if we head into that one, you can see that all it's basically doing is working out how old each of these posts are, and there's a filter set somewhere on whether it's answered or not. So if it is,
I saw that.
okay, so if it is answered, then that's fine. It's not going to display. If it's not answered, then basically we can display it and do the conditional format which has been set here. So in there we've just basically got some formatting to show, if the number of days unanswered is less than 10, or if it's between 10 and 20, or if it's more than 20 days that it's gone unanswered, to display a different color. So you can go through and choose different Fabric UI icons and color those however you want to color them, and that becomes your conditional formatting basically. So it's very flexible. Obviously, in some environments 10 days would be old, and therefore you may want to configure this to suit you, but that's the way that I've configured it here. So we can actually see, okay, all of these posts here, they've gone unanswered for more than 20 days, and now you can maybe go through and answer those. Another instance.
Seems like a great application.
Great, thank you. So yeah, in the right-hand side here is the number of topics, likes, and votes this month. So if we jump into that one and take a look at it, so again, it's connecting to a SharePoint list, and I'll just mention that you don't have to connect to a SharePoint list. Obviously, for Social Squared reporting, you do, but you can connect to other things as well, like OData sources or an Excel workbook. You can connect to other web parts, which is great actually to connect this to the Lightning Conductor.
Yep.
SPFX web part, and you can also connect it to business connectivity services, external content types, and so on, and choose your grid view or your chart view. So the first one we looked at was a grid view. This is a chart view. So again, we would point it at a list. So that one's pointing to the posts list, and under columns, notice I've got the topic ID, answered, votes, and likes. And all we're then doing is configuring our chart. So we're grouping by the created date, and then doing a count on the topic ID, and a sum on the votes and a sum on the likes. And we get our chart there. And if ever we wanted to change any of these, they don't have to be all columns like that. We can actually go in and change some of these from maybe a column to a line or to an area or something like that, and we get slightly different charts in there, which looks quite good. So yeah, that's the combo chart there that we can go through and add, so you can see how that's changed. And then we've also got the number of posts per forum. So that is basically grouping by the forum name, and then we're doing a count on the number of posts, and that's now in a pie chart. So you can see at a glance which is the most popular forums. And we've also got a similar thing on badges as well. So inside of Social Squared, the more you post, the more you reply to posts or like posts, you earn badges, and now we can actually see who's got the most badges inside this particular forum.
Nice.
Thank you. And then right at the very bottom here, we've also got a new tree map control. So we can go through and customize the colors. These were the default ones, and yeah, we can change those. But this is actually using a tree map. So I've pointed this one to the tag cloud. So there is a tags list. So under the data source here, oh, maybe I pointed it to the wrong one. That was the intention anyway. But yeah,
I'm sure we did.
Yeah, you can point it to tags, and then under the display. So this would come back with the different.
Oh, maybe you're still in the configuration for the pie chart.
Looking at the wrong one. That would explain it.
There we go.
Tag cloud. All right. So yeah, we've got the title and the count in there. So we're organizing the tree map based on the count of how often that tag is used. So you can see that SharePoint is a commonly used tag inside this particular forum. And as we go into the chart settings, this way you can go through custom colors and that sort of thing. And there's also gauges as well that you can work with. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that we'll be doing. So if you want to report on Social Squared, then you can use the data viewer for that purpose, and that also does entail other reports built into Social Squared as well. So in here you can see active users and who's following you, or recent activities and things like that anyway inside inside the product. But this is sort of putting it into a chart format and giving you that flexibility to create a report in the way that you want to.
Yeah,
that'll give you that sort of
can make a nice dashboard then for your forum admins to view.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a number of other features that we're going to be pushing out. In fact, yeah, one of them is like the avatars and people cards, which we've seen at DeliverPoint. But I guess in next week's show we'll talk more about those new features for Social Squared itself, but also to just point out that the data viewer is there as well. If you don't want to use it against Social Squared, you can actually use it independently, and use that to build reports and charts on, like I say, external data inside of SharePoint. And one good reason for using that is business connectivity services. If that's something that you do use, then the lists, like the external list and the web parts, they're all classic. So the data viewer actually allows you to build a modern experience on your PCS content. So
nice.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've always liked the data viewer, but I think sometimes people don't recognize all the things that it can do. Well, now it can do charting, we didn't have that in the on-prem data viewer. So that's a really nice addition.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Well, I guess it's the weekend because we're recording on a Friday, not on a Tuesday. So we better get across to our social.
Yep, better do that.
All right. Well, have a great weekend, Sandy.
Yep. Thanks, you too.
Chat to you next week.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Bye.